Heavy riffs are not sexist, and doom metal has the receipts. Since the beginning of heavy metal, women in heavy rock have influenced the genre. From psychedelic rock to doom metal, occult, and stoner rock, they've proven that the genre is one of the most diverse. But what exactly are they doing, and who are these women of doom? Before we continue, a big shout out and thanks to everyone who watched our video on stoner rock. Check it out if you haven't already. Occult Rock is making a comeback, and Ghost is a favorite band that uses heavy metal as their prostitute. While there's nothing wrong with that, or is it anything new, we're here to talk about the women of doom, so let's get started. Tired of the Swedish metal scene, Johanna Sedonis and Linnea Olsson formed The Oath in 2014 and released only one album titled All Must Die through Rise Above Records. This would later become an exquisite mixture of occult rock with traditional heavy metal elements and mellow dark moments as well. The songs Night Child, Silver and Dust, and Death Delight are all awesome, so you should definitely check them out. Ten years after the release of the album titled Ouroboros, the album Fear is a Cruel Master proved to the world that Ruby the Hatchet is still capable of making compelling psychedelic rock. From energetic tracks like The Change and Deceiver to more enigmatic tracks and ethereal kind of tracks like Last Saga, you can tell that Gillian Taylor and company have kept busy crafting some diverse masterpieces. It's a quite fresh take on this genre, so give their fourth album a listen. The band Windhand has an influential woman, and some of you noticed the lack of respect for them in our stoner rock video. So here we are, slow and hazy. This is Windhand. The band was formed in 2008, and Dorothea Cottrell is the voice of Windhand. However, besides being the vocalist of Windhand, Dorothea Cottrell has just recently released an acoustic album called Death Folk Country. This album is a journey between death and love. It's a different sound, but it's another facet of her musical taste. Similar aspects of Windhand are explored in this music, but it's still worth checking out. You may be in for a surprise, as it's more of a relaxing trip. In 2023, Relapse Records released a remastered version of Windhand's debut EP, released after the band recorded the Practice Space demos. Included in this remaster are both versions of Winter Sun, appearing on those two initial recordings. This 10-minute track has everything there is to love about the beautifully dark and mystical voice of Dorothea. Libyushen, also from their debut EP, is filled with mellow and dark moments, but Woodbine, released under Soma, showcased the band at their most ethereal sound. With haunting solos, the voice of Dorothea sounds seriously good and very enigmatic. Lately, Dorothea has been mixing some 90s influences into Windhand's music. If you want to take a deeper dive, check out Eternal Return, where you'll hear the band mixing doom metal with grunge. Check out the songs Diablerie, Pilgrim's Rest, or the rest of this album if you're really into it. In 1984, a 17-year-old Ricky Casso, aka the Acid King, would be making public headlines when police found the decomposing body of Gary Lauwers. Apparently, after a long night of substance abuse, the two friends entered a dispute and Casso would leave the Aztecia woods, murdering Gary. The event took place over a period known as the Satanic Panic in America, back when heavy metal and Dungeons & Dragons were thought to be satanic. We've mentioned the Filthy 15 before in a previous video, so you should check that out later. Lori S. would become shocked by these events after reading them in the fiction novel Say You Love Satan. She would later form the band Acid King in 1993, naming the band after the moniker of Ricky Casso. Lori started playing the guitar when she was 19, after a boyfriend taught her how to play minor and major chords. Soon after, she decided to form an all-girl band, but this wouldn't end up working out. She then decided to focus on making music with whomever she could instead of focusing on gender. She's been quoted saying that stoner, doom, and sludge metal are all feelings that put people in a mood. Check out The Early Years, a remastered compilation of the band's first 2 releases. If you only want the first EP, you'll probably notice that it's out of print. Luckily, Riding Easy Records does have it, and they've also remastered Bus Woods. So check them out if you're down. Cristina Esfandiari, also known as King Woman, is a multifaceted artist. She's been a rapper, an experimental noise artist, and has fronted a shoegaze band. Many of us know her as King Woman from her Doom project. The song Burn is a slow and heavy burner. This is an intricate trip about someone who isn't quite sure about the existence of a higher power. Check it out if you're into experimental music. You ever heard of the term Sabbathian rock and roll? If you haven't, let us introduce you to Electric Citizen. The voice of Electric Citizen is Laura Dolan. After the band released Hide It in the Night as a single for their 3rd album named Helltown, they quickly went on a tour in Europe with Monster Magnet and a few years later with stoner rock veterans Fu Manchu. Electric Citizen is currently working on a new album, but we'll keep all y'all updated. Desert Records and Blues Funeral Recordings released a project to celebrate the women of Doom, and it was all done by women in the scene. The album features Nighthawk, Heavy Temple, Royal Thunder, and some more. We strongly recommend Death Bells, as they surely just come from another world. With the hauntingly heavy vocals of Lauren Gaynor, the song Come to Trouble is seriously wicked awesome. Another powerful voice capable of filling stadiums is none other than Jasmine Sarela from Jess and the Ancient Ones. From Finland, they mix occult rock, psychedelic rock, and proto-metal. Check out Sulfur Giants for a journey into the unknown, or Astral Sabbath, which is a clear example of their mystical nature. The main riff sounds totally evil, carrying certain elements of obscurity but disguised in fun ways, which actually proves that occult rock doesn't have to always sound so dark. The fascination with the occult has always captivated rock. Legend has it that the black figure Geezer Butler, referred to in Black Sabbath, had already found a bluesman in Mississippi. Safe to say, without Robert Lee Johnson, metal wouldn't have existed. However, during the late 1960s, a soul band would shift their focus to psychedelic rock and would then add occult themes to their music. Black Widow would incorporate elements of Satanism, and they saw enough success to play with Black Sabbath once at the New Festival in 1970. But if we're talking about women, then Jinx Dawson from Coven should absolutely be on the list. Oftentimes forgotten, she was the first woman of Doom. Jinx believes Coven's music is neither doom nor psychedelic, but occult. When Jinx Dawson was 13, her family would use a hand gesture to greet their closest friends, and she was named the High Priestess of her coven. Dawson's family was part of an occult group called Left Hand Path, and some of her relatives were part of the AOD and the H Order of the Druids. In Martin Popoff's book Black Sabbath FAQ, Jinx Dawson said the gesture Dio used in Black Sabbath is known as mano cornuto, and that it is different than the sign of the horns used by her family. She was once married to an Italian, so she claims they used the gesture differently and that they also did a thing.
But just remember, people think this means something other than what it really is. If you'd all join us, we'll tell you what it means. It means, long live rock and roll. Put 'em up!
Coven's first album, titled Witchcraft Destroys Minds and Reaps Souls, was Jinx Dawson's first work with the band. She grew up listening to opera, blues, and classical music, and when she was only 10 years old, she received a scholarship from Butler University. Lucifer released its debut album in 2015, a year after the band The Oath went down the drain. This was Johanna Sadonis's following project, and it featured Gaz Jennings from Cathedral at Lee Dorian's recommendation. Initially, their sound was dark, but these days they are exploring a classic rock revival. We gotta say, Lucifer 1 is an absolutely amazing album. Their style seems to delve into old gods with obscure and unknown figures, although this isn't always explicit. Some tracks deal with rituals, magic, and mysterious scenarios. In October 2023, which is just about a week or two ago from the recording and releasing of this video, Lucifer released an EP with 2 tracks, titled A Coffin Has No Silver Lining and At the Mortuary. Women of Doom continue innovating doom metal, proving heavy and slow riffs are for everyone. We hope you enjoyed this video. Let us know if we forgot about your favorite Women of Doom. Subscribe to the channel with notifications if you already haven't. And remember y'all, stay metal.